record here, and we're ready. Welcome everyone. So today, super interesting panel. We have Felix Hung. He's we'll give him a quick intro too, but he's a sales coach down in Orange County. And ELIAS ASTUTO was my past sales manager at Client Real Estate. And now, ELIAS, give a quick intro.
So everyone, I'm ELIAS ASTUTO. I'm the new regional sales director and business development director for Better Homes and Garden in the East Bay. And so I'm just continuing my path of coaching agents and building the company. So I'm excited to be here once again, Kenny. Thank you for having me, and excited to share the stage with Felix today.
Awesome, Felix. Give us you have a pretty lengthy background. We have plenty of time today with just the three of us. Why don't you give like the key points of where you are in your real estate journey? Because I know you were like first team and Movoto and all kinds of stuff.
So this is my 16th year in the business. I started out, of course, as an agent, and I went from 0 transactions up to 66 sides. And then I got converted on the management side. So I managed for the #1 and #2 companies in Orange County. So I had 400 agents and over 400 agents in the 2 offices I managed. But I'm mostly known for my social media and my recruiting. That's what people know me for. In 2017, I recruited 118 people into my office at that point. But I'm now, like I said, a business coach. I love training. I love coaching. And I recently got into sales. So I'm back selling real estate now again after 6 years.
I just heard about it yesterday, but you recently just changed companies. So all this was unexpected. Did you change companies yesterday, or is this week?
So I transferred my license to EXP Tuesday evening. So
nice.
So I'm sorry, Wednesday evening.
This was not planned, guys. I know I'm EXP, but I did not know Felix was coming to EXP until yesterday. So very exciting times. Anyways, yeah. So today, like, I want to, since we're more like real estate team leaders, sales manager, coaches, like, I want to get some good tips for people what we should be doing in this environment and what the environment will look like in the future. How about you, Elias? Start us off.
Let me unmute myself. So Felix, once again, nice to meet you, and congratulations on the shift over to EXP.
Thanks.
You know what? I was on a call with one of your agents yesterday, Kenny, Eric King, and you know, I took a lot out of that. I just was sitting in on his buyer's presentation. Obviously, we know what needs to be done right now, and creating your digital presentation and making sure that we're switching to a virtual world. But I think post-coronavirus and post-shelter-in-place, it's being able to meet the clients exactly where they're at, and being able to incorporate Zoom into your portfolio of tools on how to connect with your clients. When we look statistically, last year, 2019, in December, Zoom had 10 million users. Last month, they had 200 million users, and in March, they had 300 million users. So my goal and my premise of my conversations with agents is, how are you going to incorporate Zoom into your presentation, and how are you going to go after maybe a different audience? Maybe you've not worked with millennials in the past. That's the largest population of people that are purchasing homes. And why don't you meet them where they are and make sure that you have this in your portfolio? So that's one thing that I'm making sure I'm working with my agents on, is to have a solid presentation that they can perform in person as well as digitally.
Felix, the Facebook Live just dropped, but I'm going to bring it back. Felix,
okay. Yeah, so I would say we got to start with how people are feeling right now. So how are you doing? What's your anxiety level? I'll be completely transparent. I still have anxiety today. Like 6 weeks into the lockdown here, or shelter in place in California, or in Southern California, I still have a certain level of anxiety that I still have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Now I have acceptance for everything that's happening. So I've accepted the new environment, but it doesn't mean I still don't carry anxiety from day to day. So we must deal with our emotions and our mental health first. So that's what we have to focus on: our sleep, and then our habits of feeling good. Are we working out? Are we eating right? And I'll be honest too, that's a daily struggle. I'm not in the shape that I used to be. I don't get to go to the boxing gym 3-4 days a week like I used to. So that all affects our health. And then from a mental level, I see a lot of agents not doing business. They choose to stop their business right now because they don't know if they should be doing business in the marketplace. And the way I walked my coaching clients through this, and the way I walked people that sort of need that push out the door is, are there transactions happening in your city? And in every city across the United States, transactions are happening. And then the second question is it possible for you to pick up a client right now that actually should sell or transact in real estate? Sell, buy, transact. And so, yeah, it's yes and yes for everybody. And that right there should shift your mindset into feeling like you are okay to be in the marketplace and you're okay to transact just from those two questions. Ask yourself, are there transactions happening in my city? And do you really believe some sellers should sell and some buyers should buy right now? And if it's yes and yes, which it should be, now you're to the races. You're to the races and doing transactions again.
Yeah, same thoughts. Like so right now we have like 11 listings on the market, and we haven't changed pricing strategies. A lot of the sellers are kind of waiting to see what will happen during this whole COVID thing. And a lot of us decided, most of my sellers have decided the best route is just go on the market. Days of the market are hurting less. Inventory is very low. Buyer demand is up like crazy right now. We're getting so many showings on some of our listings. To give example, we had a new listing that Dewey Bong and I and my team had on Saturday alone, we had 14 showings. So me and Dewey took turns. We flipped twice. We were at the property for 7 hours servicing these kind of open house style, like every half hour grid. And within like 3 days, we had 24 showings. And this week, I think we had over 30 showings on one occupied house. And then, so like people are out there, if they need our jobs are not to recommend people, sell or not sell the property. Is if they have that need, to fulfill that need and make things happen for them. What are some things you're seeing like in your office, Elias? What some of the agents and the optimistic things that they're doing to push their business forward?
So I like what Felix said. I mean, that's really the basic answer right now. Or the question is that if there's agents that are having huge months, I talked to an agent who closed 4 deals in April and had 3 deals in escrow in March. And so their mindset was that this isn't going to affect me as long as I continue to communicate and reach out to my clients. But if I do nothing, then I'm going to have 0 results. And so what I'm seeing is that the agents that are staying the course, that are adjusting and doing a Calendly and having virtual open house and having a shift, and I hate to use that word, but have a shift in the way that they've been doing business, things are great. They're having huge amounts of traction. They're having huge amounts of people come to their open houses. And so it hasn't really stopped. So there is a lot of anxiety around what's going on right now. I even have it right now. If I go to the grocery store, I think that if I hold my breath when I walk by somebody, I'm not going to get
I get that.
So it's, I like what Felix says, being able to be empathetic right now. And it's not the best time for everybody. It's just dependent on their situation, right? We might be facing layoffs and furloughs. Yeah, that's not going to be the right time for those people, but those might be the people that really need to sell. So it's being able to understand everyone's situation and to have a broad statement to say, oh, this is not a good time. That's false. I just think that it depends on the person and where they're at. Let them dictate what that situation is, and then let us share how we're going to help market and put it on and give them the most eyes. But I think that right now it's all dependent on how the agent communicates with the consumer.
Yeah, like last week on the REA Global and Luxury Summit, Michael Valdez hosted. I remember the owner of Remax said, and this resonates a lot. It's like, don't furlough yourself. Like I know, like I talked to 2 Redfin agents in my marketplace. They're furloughed until September. They were senior agents too. It's like, I know we're here. We took some time off to take a step back, really reflect what's dangerous, what's safe to do. But right now we're almost 2 months in this. Is it 2 months? I mean, I think that this week is it 2 months? Shelter in place. Like, how long are you going to wait? Like, can you survive? Will you stay in business if you don't take action? It's not really, we're going to go back into a normal market. Or, also in the same summit, someone had said, I think it was Engels and Volker's CEO was like, it's going to be back to business, not back to normal. So what are you guys doing to adapt in business to get back on path? Like, so what are some things you're coaching your clients to do, Felix?
One thing that is different from a social media perspective is I'm coaching them to put market stats on a weekly basis. And right now, if you have listings, I would definitely recommend that you show the stats to your sellers. So I don't call it, the market's not moving backwards. We call it a constriction of the market or a shrinkage of the market. So yes, buyers left the market, but so did sellers. So it's a contracting type market. And so at least down here in Southern California, what we saw is the buyers contracted, the sellers contracted. And so it was almost on pace with each other. And thus it was still the same seller's market. So really it stabilized pricing because 35 to 40% of buyers dropped out, 35 to 40% of buyers dropped out. So the stats were flat in that regards, and there were still multiple offers. Now, we did see a reduction in the multiple offers that were on the market. But I would say this: if you have a listing, I would show right now, and especially in the last 2 weeks, how pendings have gone up in Southern California. A lot of cities across the nation, not just in Southern California, not just in the Bay Area, we saw pendings go up in the last 2 weeks, week after week after week. That is a really, really good sign of market recovery. So when sellers want to drop out right now, you know, I was just on a call with my coaching client in Cupertino, and she had a listing that wants to drop out. And I said, no, whoa, pull stats. I bet you can show your Cupertino client that there are more pending in that city, in the Bay Area, week after week. In just the last 2 weeks, we've seen a very large increase in pendings, at least here in Southern California.
Yeah, buyer demand is definitely. Yeah, I was sure you guys. I've been using this graph for the last 2 weeks now, and it's been getting crazier and crazier. This is a graph from Google Trends of searches for certain key terms. If you look at this key term, the buy a house, not buy a home. Like on average, we're seeing typically for buy a house, maybe, I don't know, 65 million views a month or a week. But if you look in the last month, it's spiking. We're double what people are usually looking at. And that's scaling up faster than even buy a home. So more and more people stuck in quarantine are looking to buy a house. They're trying to get out of their condo or studio unit. And then even the sell a home and sell a house is increasing too. So definitely the buyer demand is way up. People are out there shopping, and the pent-up demand is there. So like for our listings, we only adjusted price on one listing, but that we were kind of stretching it already. And it also was tenant occupied originally. So when the tenant left on the property, on the condo I have, we had no showings. So we had to do a withdrawal from market. 40 days later, we came back and maybe set slightly less, more realistic price with a 25 grand price drop on the 675,000 condo. So far we've had one showing from that. Otherwise, outside of that, like we haven't seen like a huge increase in offers coming in. We've had tons of showings right now. Like the showing is crazy because people will call me first before they send me a PED, call me checking that I got the PED, and they want to arrange a showing. But leading with data is really key. Like earlier, what you just said, Felix, about sellers are down 30%, buyers are down 30%, and all that. That's kind of hard to comprehend for a lot of clients. So one thing that we've recently started doing in the last 2 weeks, so we don't have showing time in our area. I've actually contacted showing time to partner with our MLS because it's pretty annoying to do all this extra work. But something we've done recently is we started tracking all of our showings on all of the listings we have on the market. You see, like, surprisingly, some of the ones I thought would do really well have not. And then this Occupy showing had 22 showings. This 460 grand condo had 10 showings last week. And then so that way we have something for sellers to compare to. Because I tell you, we had 2 showings this week. Well, is that a lot or is that a little? It's hard to say, right? And then even now, we've been doing this for a while. We've been tracking the number of views on certain properties. So like this condo, the one I just did price reduction on, had 1,200 views last week. But then this condo, for 475 grand, had 2,000 views. And this house has 6,000 views a month. And we be getting a ton of showings on this property, but it's been 3 weeks now, 30 days now with no offers. So I think leading with data is really key. So we can lead with that and let sellers determine like how get a true glimpse of the market.
That's very old school. That's straight tracking showings is straight Floyd Wickman, like way back in the day, probably way before any of us was born. I used to track.
I don't even know who you're referring to be honest.
So Floyd Wickman was a trainer in the same time as when Mike Ferry started, and like the 70s in Flint Hill, Michigan, and that guy had a sellability checklist, and I used that checklist at the last downturn. And he had, I think, 25 points on his checklist. Was it priced well? Would you trade your house for another house? How many showings was it? Did you allow a sign in the yard? And so like tracking showings is definitely something that we should be doing. And then we should also be looking at, like, it's brilliant what you're doing. The eyeballs on Zillow and other platforms, and then translating that to see, well, where is the problem? Is the problem potentially in my marketing? Is it potentially in my videography or my photography or how the house is presented? So I think that's amazing what you're doing.
I guess that's like we're doing the high-end photos and everything, the floor plans, the virtual staging, the 3D tour. Like we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing, and the people aren't coming to see the properties or making offers. Like there's very little you can do. If I can tell a client, I have 11 listings on the market right now, and unfortunately we're doing everything we can, but 10 of them aren't getting any action. This is the market, you know, and that's just internal data too to share with our clients.
You know, I was talking with JVM last week, and he was telling me about their stats of pre-approvals year over year. He thought going into March that their pre-approval stats were going to be vastly lower than they were last year. It was right on par, and slated to end up even higher with this pre-approval rate than year over year. So being able to work with some lenders and get some data from them as well to see what they're doing for pre-approvals, how many pre-approvals they're getting, that's definitely working when talking with clients as well.
Sorry, I'm distracted. Any thoughts, Felix?
So I'll actually go back to what Elias started with a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast. I'm also pushing Zoom, but I'm also pushing other video streaming, live stream, video conferencing, live stream software. So Messenger Room for Facebook is coming out, which will allow up to 50 people, and it's going to be a direct Zoom competitor through technology that we already know, which is the Facebook platform. But also, a lot of people are online. You know, like most of my family uses Line because we're Taiwanese. And so did you know that Line allows up to 200 people online, right? So a lot of people use Google Hangouts that allows 150 people, but you can only have 25 people speaking, and then everyone else is sort of the audience, right? But online, you can have a video chat with 200 people. And so we can use existing technology we're already on. It's really using that idea of video conferencing, software to build a community. So I just had, of course, we're using it for business, right? So I agree totally with Elias. Your buyer consultation coming out of this better be on point. Your listing presentation better be on point. Your presentations about maybe a buyer seminar, investor seminar better be on point. But we can also do something else with these communities. You saw the happy hours. You know, Aria is doing the karaoke. I thought that was amazing. Their live
and
karaoke.
Irish chef and hip hop dancing. It's Aria TV all day.
Totally, and that's really it. It's using like this TV or game show type effect on Zoom or any other. So you can replace Zoom with Messenger Room or whatever. I just had a client do a murder mystery that was fantastic. It was amazing. Like I would watch that on a weekly basis. And it was literally like,
wait, what? A murder mystery TV mini show?
Basically, yeah, on Zoom. So they did a murder mystery where they dressed up as butlers and all the characters, and they went through. It was like Clue, but live.
Okay, we can see that.
Yeah, and so you can do singing, you can do karaoke, using it as a way to build a community around entertainment is something that we can do. And so if we started one and Elias and I were part of a band and we just did that, we could then expand it to even jam with a whole bunch of people. So, hey, you know, I play the guitar, you play the drums, let's have some rhythm. Then now we need a singer. So Kenny Fast is going to be our singer. Whatever it is, you build a community around it. Then you expand out to maybe spheres that you don't know. So I invite you, you invite your friends that I don't know. And now I'm expanding my sphere, even though we're in shelter in place.
You know, I'm seeing celebrities do the same exact thing. You're seeing these huge celebrity events. You know, even Jimmy Fallon the other night, they're doing the Jimmy Fallon show at night, and they have all these different people, and they're playing games, and they're on, and we can most certainly apply that, you know, and get everyone involved and get our community involved. So yeah, I love where your head's at, Felix, and I definitely love being able to use this medium to definitely reach more people. And then to be able to host a meeting with clients that has maybe a lender on there, maybe a title representative, and have everyone come together and share the process and be able to provide even more value for our clients in one stop. That's huge. That's huge. And it's a huge saver of time for our clients. So I love that.
I think the opportunities right now, I mean, we touched base before this call, and I loved our conversation. And really, we talked about the last couple of market shifts. And in 2007 and 2009, those who shifted to short sales and REOs gained market share. Same thing with those who shifted into equity sales or equity resales from 2011 and 2013. Those who shifted back to equity sales gained market share. I think the next 3 to 6 months feels very much the same way. It's not even about shifting one way or another as far as to short sales or to equity sales. It's those who actually choose to play and play at a high level the next 3 to 6 months, those who want to do this safely. I believe everyone on this broadcast values human life and safety, but those who choose to play at a high level right now, the next 3 to 6 months, you don't have to revisit your goals. You can do the same exact production that you wanted to January 1st this year if you double down the next 3 to 6 months. I think that this is the window, and I'm going to compare it to the 2007 and 2012, 2013 years. It feels very similar right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
So like post-COVID, like where do you see this going? I know we're adopting some things that might stick, like the Zoom stuff, but where do you see some leniencies where some things might not be as tight standards?
Wait, so ask the question again, Kenny.
Like post-COVID, like do you think all this like the PEAT forms will stick, the schedule open houses, like what were some things that might be lax, and what are some things that might hold tight?
I think for the next 3 months, that form's still going to stay in place. That's my opinion on that. But I think we're going to see more and more of this, obviously, virtual open houses. You know, I'm curious, what do you think, Felix? I know that our markets are similar. Obviously, it's a microclimate within itself. But what do you see happening down in Southern California?
I see more people going the virtual staging route. So I definitely feel that coming out of this, it has definitely shined a huge spotlight on 2 areas, or I would say 3. One is social media, one is digital marketing, and one is virtual. And before it was sort of, well, you can shift to that maybe in the next 2 to 5 years. Now it's, if you don't shift, you're going to lose a large portion of the marketplace. So I believe virtual staging will be something that sticks, because now you can delete my microwave that I keep on the stove that is a clutter item, but now you can delete that, and then now you can make it look like my house is staged. My house looks perfect to attract the crowd, and maybe now there's a new understanding that it may not look like that when they reach the house. But I really think that virtual meetings are going to be around, and I think that's going to be a new norm, and doing business at a distance. Now, virtual open houses, I really miss traditional open houses, but I think for certain circumstances, virtual open houses will continue.
The Saturday one I did was a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't done an open house in a while, just to be able to talk to people and, you know, socialize 6 feet apart with our masks on, it was a blast. So I would like to do more regular open houses. And then, like, so one thing too, I'm talking to a lot of sellers. I think buyers can be less picky than before, because now like most homes are occupied. They're not, you know, staged. We couldn't get contractors out. I think maybe the level of prep might not be as needed on a very, very high level for some of the homes, you know, depending on condition. I think buyers will be more open because they're going to be used to seeing more like virtually staged home, which could be good. Like then that way, when the home is not super fixed up, is you know, I think there's a huge contrast in the past. If it's not fixed up, it's a fixer, or if it's good, then it's good. There's less in between. But now I feel like the prices might average out with less prep being done in the homes.
For sure. Felix, when you're coaching with your agents right now, because something that I've been talking a lot about is not only having a digital presentation right now, and obviously if you don't have one, then you're completely behind, because that should have been created week 3, week 2 into this, but really identifying what your campaign is going to be post coronavirus and post shelter in place, right? Like, these are the things that I'm going to be adding into my new presentation. These are the ways that I can communicate. We can meet at the house. We could also do a Zoom. We could also do line, and have an array of different things to say to people or to communicate with people, but then also having like a campaign that you're going to launch on MailChimp. You're going to do a social media campaign. You're going to create some videos post coronavirus. And so that's what I'm working with our agents on, to look forward, right? We already know what's happening now. We're in it. We're in the thick of it. We're week 6 into this, but what are your people doing, and what are you advising your people to do to start creating that campaign once shelter in place is lifted?
I know it's probably been droned on, but we focus first on Sphere. So just touching base with everyone to let them know, how are you doing? I do feel like, at least in the state of California, Governor Newsom's going to go to his stage 2 of now his 5-stage plan, I think within the next 30, 45 days. And
Right.
I think there are a lot of just pent up demand, and just people are going to want to normalize their life as much as possible, even though we all agree that really COVID is going to be something that we deal with for the rest of our lives. And the current pandemic will probably last well into 12 to 18 months from now. People want normalcy, and they're going to want to go look at houses and stop putting their life on hold. We're seeing that by people being more lax on their own shelter in place. They're going out more. We see more traffic going on.
We've seen a lot of pictures of beaches where you are.
Yeah.
Is it really that crazy? Is it like tons of people out at the beach?
So, I thought it was an old picture, and I thought it was propaganda at first, but then I saw very similar photos with a couple people having masks on. Then I knew it was actually real. So those were actually real. And when you talk to people, some people were practicing social distancing and other people were not. So I am also seeing in the supermarket that some people just choose not to wear a mask, and that's their prerogative.
So this actually happened. I got so lucky. I was in Hawaii when California got locked down. I left the day, so I missed the first 2 weeks of shelter in place. But when I was on the beach, and then a family sat down in the sand and put their towels there, they didn't see someone else's towel. And then when the guy came back, there was a lot of quarreling and almost a fight. So this was like 2 months ago. So I think people who don't practice social distancing are gotten pissed off a lot of other people.
Yeah, definitely. But getting back to Elias's question Sphere and being like a community resource is how I'm describing working your Sphere right now, with telling them about grocery stores that offer pickup or offer delivery, letting people know how they can adjust. A lot of support groups are really helpful right now for emotional and mental health. So a coaching client started a working moms group on Zoom, and she's building a community out there, and it just for venting and then for solutions, for sharing solutions. So that's really helping. So we've got SOI that I'm teaching. I'm also teaching Zoom, just like Elias, for building communities around a video conference live stream type structure. Building realtor to realtor referral networks. So we all are influencers, and we're sort of the next gen. So the more, just like Kenny, what you're doing, the more we can connect with agents around the nation, with our brand, without our brand, the better to get referrals. So I think that there will be people that will start relocating again, and that will open up some doors. So agent to agent referrals is something that we're working on. And of course, digital marketing wise, we have the social media, of course, we've got Facebook ads, we've got pay-per-click, we've got LinkedIn marketing that's coming on strong. So there's a plethora of things that people can work on. I personally am also doing targeted mailers, and it's something that I think really can make a difference now, where it was less effective for a number of years because people really prefer things in their inbox. Now we're sick of the inbox, and I'm going back towards the old school mailers because I feel like people miss mail. Now I'm making my mailers look like imitations, but people are missing mail. So I know that I get close to 100% open rate based upon how I package the mailer.
Love that. So I've been working on, it's a system that I work with almost every agent that I work with. So it's sorry for my chicken scratches. It's the 5 pillars of production. So I want them to start whiteboarding everything and say, these are the 5 pillars. There could be more, obviously, and there could be subcomponents of each pillar, but what is your social media campaign? What am I posting? What am I posting? How frequently? My lead sources. Have I formed strategic alliances with probate lawyers, with divorce lawyers, with wedding planners? All these people that are dealing with clients that are in a position of transition, no matter if it's positive or negative. and being able to make sure that you have a system, your CRM is set, making sure that you have a really clear path with your SOI clients, whether it's handwritten letters, whether it's a nice SOI event that you're going to throw post-coronavirus, whether it is doing a VIP section on your social media so they get something that is special versus what the masses get, and then really working on your farm. I talk to so many agents, and every time I bring up a farm, they're like, oh yeah, something I've been wanting to do. But really, like, partnering with a title representative and getting your list and putting your campaign, putting your frequency, putting it on your calendar, and start tracking that and doing that now. So when you turn the calendar post-coronavirus, you already have something that's set in place for the next 12 to 18 months. And then your community involvement. I was recently working with one of Kenny's friends, an industry friend. His name's Ivan Santa Cruz. And he's been farming a certain area. He's been getting some really great traction, but he's like, I feel like just sending my flyer every single month isn't going to have the same exact response. And he's like, well, what if I deliver masks in a plastic baggie? I'm like, you deliver a mask to my door, I'm throwing that away because I don't know who put that on my door. So I'm like, do a COVID cleanup for your community. I said, hire one of those big dumpsters, put it on 1st and 2nd Street, let the community know on your flyer that you're going to be doing a community cleanup because everyone's cleaning out their cabinets, throwing away kids' clothes, doing this deep clean of the house. He just texted me right before this call.
Just tell me about that the other day. I've had a couple calls with him last week about some other things, but that's pretty cool.
He got a $150 permit. He's going to shoot a huge mass mailer out to his community. He's going to be out there with his mask, his gloves, a big old pop-up tent with all of his information, and people are going to come and throw all the rubbish away. So that's part of this plan. So breaking your business down into 5 pillars of production, it'll allow you to get really granular and then start plugging those things into your calendar. So that's what I'm working with agents with right now.
Reminds me of like when people do the yearly shredding thing and come out and toss your stuff. But this is an awesome idea. I haven't heard anyone execute that.
Yeah, it's like, it's the KW, it's the Red Day. You know, they do the Red Day every single year. Once we're able to do it, I'd love to be able to sponsor a Green Day from Better Homes and Garden. We're all out there in our green shirts, helping out our community, building a local garden, and just truly leading from a position of, I want to give back to this community. And hey, if you ever need anything, you know who I am. You'll call me for real estate needs, but let us give first and hope they'll remember us.
So, Felix, I mean, so you made the move to EXP. So you're with a new broker now. Like, what are some of the first steps you're telling, getting connected with your agent community and telling them to execute?
It's really getting them out of the fear of not wanting to do transactions. So it's really the basics, right? So I've got sort of like shelter in place basics I go over, which is making sure you've got the right sleep. So sleep is important, schedule is important, and understanding that you can't conquer everything. So giving yourself a break and understanding that. And I'm really happy now if I get 5 or 6 productive hours done for the day, whereas before I could probably get 8 to 10 productive hours of work done. I'm happy with about half of that right now.
How come?
I think the honest anxiety that I have in place, I'm less, so I'm more efficient in some ways and less efficient in other ways. But also not working out. So I do feel a little bit more sluggish, but I'm really just happy that I'm consistently productive and moving my business forward. And then really the most effective coming out of this is going to really be touching base with your sphere. And it literally is a battle of for their hearts and for their minds. So whoever has the most emotional equity is going to win their hearts and their minds. And it's really, who was there for me? And we keep blowing this up. I see this everywhere. And Elias and I are not the only people pushing for you to say, how are you doing to your sphere? But the difference is who's actually doing it. When the coaching clients I have do it, they have a great feel good about it. But I always ask them to ask this question. And I would implore whoever's watching and whoever's listening to ask this question. How many people outside of your immediate family have reached out to you to check in on you? I bet that there is no more than a handful of people outside their immediate family reaching out to them. And then you do differentiate yourself. You are special. And I'm not just talking about text message. We all preferred text message 6 weeks ago. We all did. Now we prefer phone
Someone
calls.
please talk to me. Anyone.
Right. Now we're suffering from not having interpersonal interactions, and we want video chat. We want phone calls now.
That's key. I mean, so something like that stuck to me. One of my mentors, Mark Choi, had talked about way back. There's market share and mind share. Right now, there's no one has market share. No one's selling anything, right? But mind share is like if you can stay top of mind and be there for them, like you're saying. There's lots of ways to do that. When people come out of this and it's not even specific to the real estate, right? They're past accountant or on a haircut or whatever it might be. If those people aren't in their lives right now, when they come out of this, they're going to look for new people to talk to, and the people who are there for them are going to be the ones that they affiliate, do business, and continue a relationship with, whether that's a working relationship or just a friendship. So like, it's so important just to stay visible and stay top of mind right now.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kenny, because if all of a sudden now you surface, shelter in place is done, and you surface like, hey, how are things? We're like, that's so opportunistic, right?
Yeah.
It's so opportunistic, right? So you should be truly, genuinely caring about these people, about their business, about the local florist, about your local restaurants, and like truly concerned about them. And not just, I'm only going to be concerned once it's time to do business, because that's opportunistic and it's greedy.
Well,
it's really greedy.
Someone posted the other day, so I reposted, right? Remember it was like a thing online, like all the times that you've asked businesses or people to support your kids or the schools or buy chocolate or donate money. Well, then what are you doing now to help those businesses, right? At this time, totally. Like you and Jen are doing something pretty interesting in that space too. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So for everyone that's listening, Jen and I, my girlfriend, we are sponsoring a restaurant giveaway for 6 weeks. So we invested our own money. We give away $75 to a local East Bay restaurant every single week. We get video and pictures from them. We plug that on our social media, and everyone tags a friend, enters the win. And then today at 5 o'clock, we'll go live and we'll announce the winner. And I'll tell you what, the restaurants have been so grateful. They're just so thankful. And we're literally doing that because we love food and we want to see these companies survive. So when we're done with all this, we want to get together and socialize. We can go to some of our best restaurants and they're still there. So that's us doing a small part. It's not much money, but hey, if it drives some people to order some more food from them because it's front of mind and that keeps them going a little bit longer or helps them pay for their overhead, then we feel like we're doing our part. And Jen's from Oakland, so she wants to really give back to her community, and that's where I do a bulk of my business and coaching. So yeah, it's definitely been getting a lot of traction. We love it. It's exciting. Plus, we're getting a lot of engagement from realtors on social media and asking us, oh, how did you do that? Or that's cool. Or great job, you guys. Appreciate what you're doing for the community. So it has a ripple effect on.
And that thing has been something people have been doing for a while, but I think now more than ever, like it's an easy thing to do. It's a win-win for you. You build strong relationships. You help the small business owners. I just saw Shane Cheng on Facebook. I'm not sure he's still here, but he's we talked about some stuff, but then he's using StreamYard. Now he's actually interviewing restaurant owners to talk about their businesses. I think like that's something any or all of you guys can do right now. If there was an essential business right now, like interview them, get them on the map, get some visibility, because then their network would appreciate you, and then you would enter their network. It's just like now more than ever, I think we need to find ways to support each other, if not through the phone or personally, but through even digitally.
Totally.
Yeah, I had two things prospecting wise I forgot to mention. One is digital farming on Facebook groups. So when I ran my team in 2018, I had a team member down here in Orange County. He was Salvadorian, and he joined a 1,200 member Salvadorian Los Angeles group. So I think it was Salvadorians in Los Angeles or something like that. And all he did was like, comment, make some post about his home culture. And he picked up 3 clients in 6 months just from that. So real quick, the down and dirty of how I used to teach that is you join a group with a lot of people for a topic or hobby that you truly enjoy, not just for business purposes, but you truly enjoy doing yourself. So it seems genuine and you're authentic when you're posting. Then you build relationships in the group by like, commenting, and posting. And then when you feel comfortable, you add those people onto your personal Facebook page. And then every 4th or 5th post, the 80-20 rule for posting on social media, they see you're in real estate, and then they reach out to you when you have a need. So that's another thing that we're really focused on right now. And then the second thing is, I think you guys will like this. I don't normally share this, but I want to make sure that I'm sharing everything and being transparent. we're also actually doing true digital farming. And true digital farming is getting your title rep to pull data, and then we're social stocking people and adding them on Facebook. But you wouldn't imagine that my coaching clients are some are getting up to 40% of people to add them back on Facebook.
And are they adding like random strangers, homeowners
totally,
in the neighborhood?
In a geographical farm.
That's kind of weird, but
in a geo farm. So it's just playing the numbers game. So although it sounds weird, right? We already do it for people that we don't know in the industry. We already add strangers. So what's the difference of adding a stranger that we want to network with versus adding a homeowner that we want to do business with? So they're adding these strangers, and it's a numbers game. So if they can add a couple hundred, a couple thousand people from data, you just compare it to the city of Oakland and Kenny Truong. Okay, so this is probably Kenny's house, but there's maybe 3 Kenny Truongs on Facebook. I'm going to add them all. And if they accept, they do. If they don't, they don't. And if you're already, also doing EDDM and mailers on top, they're of course going to recognize your marketing more, but you're able to sort of still make connections with people, get them to add you back right now. And it's weird. I think in another time, it wouldn't be 40%. On the low end, it's about 15% that accept the friend request. On the high end, we're seeing as much as 40% accept the friend request. It's more effective when they have to accept the connection. So it's LinkedIn and Facebook versus Instagram.
It's the first time I've heard that. I mean, I did that way back when, I think it was a Sidekick app. There's a Chrome extension on the right side of your screen where when you're emailing someone, it will show their LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. In the past, I typically had just added them on LinkedIn and Twitter, so I want to get them get to know me. But I haven't done as far as this. But this does take extra work, but it sounds like it's really effective. That's pretty cool.
And then is it the same type of pattern for, say, a traditional farm? Are you doing reach outs every single month? Are you changing your campaign, your verbiage every single month, or what's the advice to a client?
Well, if you're running Facebook ads, I think we all know that we can also target our Facebook friends on those Facebook ads. So if they're already friends with us, they see that. So that is a difference. But they don't have to do that. They can really do it from still an organic point of view of building a relationship in a Facebook group. They just need to make sure that those groups are local, right? So if it was in Oakland or the Bay Area, you want to make sure that group has Oakland, the Bay Area, East Bay, something in the title where it says that if you build a connection with someone in that group, you're probably going to service them as a buyer or seller versus something national, right? You're not going to join Harley Davidson Riders of America because even though you love the group, you love riding your Harley, that may give you a referral in Tennessee or in Montana or in New York, and that may not be your target market.
That's a really good idea. So I've heard this a couple of times. I think Zillow Killer promotes it too. It was one of the first time I've heard it. It's like putting up a video about the community or anything about your passion in those groups. You know how Facebook lets you or Instagram lets you run ads to people who have at least watched 30 seconds of this. And then you can do a trigger where it will run this ad that will then at least people who watch this ad. So like you kind of have them kind of like a digital video funnel. It could be like, let's just use motorcycles, for example, right? You can have motorcycles in a group, you on a bike, but people who are interested enough to see who you are, then maybe you can start writing ads for something else in the community. So you can kind of like get people to be more interested in you and see who those people without knowing exactly who they are. But these people are semi-interested, more interested, and then you would run a call to action ad or something stronger with the messaging that might be more business related. Because these people have been through 3 funnels with you, they've watched 3 minutes of you and a minute here, and they have 4 minutes interaction knowing who you are. Then you can run something a more targeted ad, expensive ad messaging to just that audience. That's something like you can hire people to do that too. But I think that's pretty cool. You want to build rapport up front.
Yeah, and really for you, Elias, and for you, Kenny, and even myself, I think this is a great time to talk about manager and recruiting. I mean, I think a lot of us are looking at what our companies are doing to get us through this right now. And we're comparing notes and we're seeing what our friends and our peers are looking at and what they're getting fed from their companies and how they're being supported. And I think that there's
like, where are my desk fees going right now? If I pay $200-ish to this company desk fee, well, I don't have a desk right now. Well, you still got to pay it.
Yeah. So I think the way that broker owners, managers handle this and how they support their agents is gonna be big coming out of this. So yes, from just a human to human interaction and caringness standpoint, but also from a support standpoint. So what are you doing to help me grow my business? Are you giving me executable things that I can do that are actually giving me results? And if that's not happening, I see a migration after this ends. I see a lot of unhappy people that really were happy 6 weeks ago, but now they're unhappy because of how their brokerage handled coronavirus, COVID-19, and I see a migration.
And
Yeah,
like
totally
one thing, like I talked to my coach a couple weeks ago was that not like this isn't true for everyone, so this is not a general statement, but a lot of current existing sales managers are retired top producers. You know, they did well. They can make deals happen, deal doctoring, compliance, right? They keep the office safe and they can get people going. But right now in this new day and age, like, you know, with the new technology, like these Zoom, these webinars, how to do a virtual open house and all of that, a lot of these sales managers aren't actively practicing. So they're in the same boat, you know, as me and many agents are. So I think the struggle is like what people now are lacking, and you know, now they're able to see what's out there between a team leader, a sales manager, a broker, an owner. What is it that office offers, right? If doors are shut, do they have an online presence? Like I can know for a fact that I've seen Coldwell Banker really up their online game, training game. Keller Williams, like I haven't heard too much of Keller Williams, but I haven't heard anything bad like locally. I know they've been just on training like online courses all day. I know Compass does like a daily powwow thing, but a lot of people are trying really hard. But I don't know if all. Just I only know about those two companies. That's actually a bad thing because I don't know what other companies are doing. But what's the lack right now? What are people looking for in like the people that they look up to, or look forward to? Like Elias, you're in that position where you are a business development coach. Like, what are you seeing maybe within your brand, and what other do you have like masterminds with other managers?
So we have a weekly mastermind with the managers, and then I host a collective wisdom with agents every Monday, and I've been about 30 to 40 consecutive agents that are attending each week. And so for us, you know, I think that question is a good question, Felix. It's where are my business fees going to, especially during this time? If I'm not coming to the office, if I'm not making copies, like where are my business fees going to? So as a company, you know, we decided to reduce all business fees, and we haven't cut staff. So my encouragement to the leadership team above me and the owners is that we double down on our marketing, right? So we double down on people, even if it's contracted marketing people that can work on specific projects for us, and then being able to pull the veil off of some of the tools and products and services that BHG offers, because a lot of those haven't been used or haven't had someone like me to bring them a loud voice and say, this is dope, this is how we use it. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is focus on what we have and all these tools, double down on our marketing department, and help our agents come out of this looking better with their brand, have better tools, have better marketing, and have a better plan. So that's what we're doing, is we're doubling down on our marketing and putting huge emphasis on them and helping and working with me to develop campaigns and a video university to help people really get out of the shell of, I've never created a video, I don't know what to do. Well, come to the university, we're hosting this, I'm your mentor, and I'm gonna walk you through all the stages. So doubling down on our marketing to really prove the worth to our agents has been super important, because yeah, if they don't see it, it's like, what's the loyalty? Why do they want to stay around if they don't feel that their money's being well spent? So I love what you said, Felix.
And then like on contracts, there are really good managers that just kind of have been floating around. They might not seem like they have a lot of value because there's no obstacles for them, right? Now it really is for the managers to shine. This is what I know I can help you grow your business, but they really got to get out there and get visible. Cause I was thinking, like, for me, I've been going to conferences 10 years. A lot of people think I just post stupid things online and network, but they're like, now, like, I really like that this shelter in place happening, because then now I can have really deep conversations with different people on different topics to show like, this is what we really know. And I know these people who can also bring value to my local agents or you know, within the online space. Like we probably wouldn't have had this call randomly, right? If it wasn't for shelter. And the thing, like, being able to just get more organized and show really your value is key in this market. If you're looking to attract, if you're looking to get team members or recruit for your office or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I love what you're doing on Zoom and everything that you've been doing the last couple of weeks. I've been jumping on and off a lot of the broadcasts, and it's just so much value. I, from an association standpoint, I also train at a lot of the associations, and the associations are asking for prospecting. Their membership is asking for prospecting right now with shelter in place and different ideas to do that, and making sure that they're executable. What I'll tell you as a trainer and a coach is that I think a lot of our audience right now is overwhelmed. And what I would tell them is, if you're overwhelmed, scale back, like truly scale back. And this is not, it's not a knock on you. It's that I'd rather you just go through Elias's video community or video university and have a series of great videos and just focus and double down on just that coming out of this. If that's executable, and if it doesn't overwhelm you, just focus on that one task instead of trying to get good at 5 different things right now. So yes, we're throwing a lot at you, but if you feel overwhelmed, what speaks to the most? Just do 1 or 2 things and focus on 1 or 2 things. And once you master those at a high level, you're also going to have the confidence to go back out there and add a 3rd, add a 4th, add a 5th onto your plate. But if you start and think, wow, like Kenny, I jump on all your broadcasts, I think they're great ideas. Well, Kenny, I mean, honestly, the system that you've built for your team and when you were at Climb, if you think about it, it didn't take you a year. It took you years to build that up. So as you're explaining it, it sounds like you're saving all of us years and years of trial and error, but still implementation can't happen instantly.
I'll give you a really funny example. I have a new agent on my team. Like she's amazing. She just joined my team, Ellie Shahid. Earlier we had a role playing. So I don't do role playing. That's just fact. I woke up for my 8 o'clock role playing because I wanted to support my team. But she said, I just integrated Zapier with my Real Scout and my MailChimp and something else. Like I told her I actually want an award for that for Inman in the article 5 years ago. But but that stuff still like holds today. That was pretty interesting. And then like one more comment, like I haven't done webinars before. I literally started a month ago. I put on like over 20 of them now. Like you just figure it out and go. But you know, I do more business than most agents, and I'm a little more tech savvy. But that does not mean you're not able to bring value to those around you. I'll give you an example, like Bridge MLS. I'm part of Bridge MLS. They did the first top producer mastermind last Friday. They're starting with one at 1 o'clock again. The second one's this week. So I kind of took the charge because I was invited to a couple of masterminds, and I just did my own. And everyone's doing it now, which is great. But the CCAR MLS next to me, like I don't think they've done it yet or haven't seen it. So I told Melody on my team, hey, why don't you take an initiative? You already pay for Zoom. Like what? So take a production aside, right? Mind share, market share. Well, you have a Zoom, you know how to put together. Why don't you host it on behalf of the organization? And in that way, if it was a top producer panel, maybe you wouldn't be on the top producer panel, but now you can get your way on there because you're hosting it. And like example, Fidelity reached out to me for asking me for some tips on how to do a host a webinar. So I gave them like, hey, you should have this many people. This is how you prep the marketing. And then they just said, can you just do it for us? So earlier, like I don't sell in Napa, Sonoma, like maybe done one deal before, but earlier I held like a top 1% mastermind this morning for some of the biggest agents in Sonoma. So it's pretty fun. And you know what? Now I might have a recruiting referral network, right? Because now I'm in front of these people. I had a really great 1 hour, 15 minutes with them. Things like put yourself out there. Everyone has some value, whatever it might be. You know, put it out there. It doesn't have to be you and having do a ton of business or not. And then Melody example earlier, she's more into spiritual stuff. So she started a podcast called Spirit Biz or something. And she's having a mastermind like 12 o'clock today about that. So like everyone has something. You just got to figure out what it is you can bring. And you don't have to be a real estate coach or team leader, sales director, like Elias or myself to bring value to your community.
You know what I've seen in the last few weeks is I've seen, and you know, thank you, Kenny, for hosting these. And what it's done for a lot of agents, you have some of the agents that are great producers in offices, have great content, have great ideas, but sometimes are reluctant to share. What I've seen is I've seen so many new leaders emerge, and this like empowerment to lead and to have a voice and to put together a group and have these, you know, social hours and to be able to lead things that they might not have been able to stand up in front of a group and lead because there was a lot of nerves and anxiety about that. But I feel comfortable. I'm in my own home. I'm leading in a different way. So I'm seeing all these great leaders emerge. And yeah, there's tons of stuff out there. You can't hop on everything, but hats off to the people that are saying, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity, become a better leader, and come out of this with a new skill set. And like you were saying earlier, Felix, I just got off a coaching session at 10:30. This agent said, well, I got to do this. I got to do that. I took 3 weeks off. I wanted to chill. I wanted to have like a spiritual cleanse, but now I'm ready. And I want to do all these things. I said, number one, last year, all of your business came from open houses and working with buyers. I said, if I wanted to host a call with you right now as a client and go through a buyer's presentation, do you have something that you could share with me as a client? He's like, no, I don't have that, but I want to work on my CRM. No, okay, so stop everything. The first thing you need to do is just create your presentation and then role play with me as if I was a client sitting across the table. He's like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed, right? So I've seen great leaders, and to build off of your point, man, like just keep it really simple. Focus on 1 or 2 things that you can implement right away.
For sure, the 1 or 2 things. I mean, there's so many things you can do right now. You can do webinars, so many, all that. Like for me, like last week, something so simple. I've been at ESP for 2 months now. I look back at our CRM, which we activated a month ago. All the signatures still say Client Real Estate. So I had to manually go back in and do that. Then I realized none of my agents, my team have their websites built. I was like, okay, why don't you guys don't do anything or prioritize this item? Take the next 3 days to work on your website. I mean, no business is going to come on your website right now, but you want to start doing small things to implement that. Have a task list, but tackle one thing at a time for sure. Cool. We're at the hour mark. So any last remarks has been really helpful. I think more conversations should be geared towards like what's going to happen in the future now versus, virtual showings, all of that. Here's a curveball question. It very well could happen. Like, actually very likely happen. How should agents be prepared for the second wave of Corona? It could be a smaller wave, but if people are going out, there's got to be some people that screw up. Like, what should agents do to prepare for a second wave? And if this shelter in place gets extended even more, then what? They
should start emotionally and mentally to prepare that it may happen. And in this time around, if and when it happens, I'm not going to have any anxiety. I'm not going to get emotional about it. So learn from this last time, and really don't take 2 or 3 weeks off. If you did take that time off, you should still keep working through it. And if you look at the long-term vision of at least California reopening, we're going to need PPE. So are you ordering PPE? Are you buying PPE? Because that's going to be sort of part of daily life. And the last thought I'll leave the audience with is this window of 3 to 6 months. I believe this is the time to sort of shift and double down, because yes, there's going to be agents that don't make it right now, but this is the most level playing field. If you want to up your market share, I think the next 3 to 6 months is the time to do it, where you have even top producers. I talked to at least 3 agents last week that are doing north of 40 transactions as solo agents, and they're going backwards right now. So it's not just the new agents affected by this. There are also top producers that are affected by COVID-19 and what's going on. And for those who choose not to do business right now, for whatever reason, even if it's valid, the fact is you're probably going to lose market share. And so if you want to grab market share right now, the next 3 to 6 months is the time to do it.
I have a comment on that too. Like, Elias, we're in the same market. You clearly see what's going on. A lot of the top producers in the market aren't really doing anything visible. They're actually doing pretty fine. They have their systems in place. They have, even without being told on webinars to do certain things, their businesses are running. I think where like maybe just pretty much anyone who's not visible right now, they're going to be losing market share to the people who are making sure they're in front of people. So like one thing I've done, because I have a larger network, was host these webinars and invite 16 of the local agents, and then get them on the map. Now we've developed and forged strong relationships during this. So I think this is something other agents can do too, like connect, collaborate. If you can throw on the Facebook Live, start inviting people that are doing a lot of business in your office onto the thing. And then in the long game, like it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. And for me, my advice to everyone would be become a master of your own emotion, right? So really understand how we're feeling, the anxiety that was associated with this. Become a master of your own emotions, because no matter what happens, what type of market, I can't let it affect my life in a negative way. It's like the richest man in the world can be the most miserable prick, and the brokest person in the world could be the happiest person. It's all dependent on how we manage our emotions. And I would definitely right now double down on your ability to look into the things that are being used right now from a marketing standpoint. I've seen Jen create the coolest Canva templates over the last couple of weeks, MailChimp, things that aren't too hard, but they'll really give you a great look, the great color, the great flow. Like, spend some time working on your brand and working on your business right now. Don't wait, because a lot of you had some momentum, you had some forward progress, and then you stopped. And like Kenny always says, do you want to start out at a stop sign again and start your business from scratch? Or do you want to at least be on the highway with some momentum? So make sure you're working on your marketing. Watch the demos, try to do different things, try to build something on Canva that you've never done before.
Dude, Canva is fun. I think a lot of my team members are having a blast on there. Jen created a buyer's consultation. Julie, a new agent on my team, has been creating. She made me a new slide deck for EXP. She created a new listing presentation built off of Climb's last one.
Yeah.
She's creating these crazy charts. Eric is doing the weekly update. It's just like go crazy. Like, you're staring at a screen, might as well like do something creative, right?
For sure. And then make sure that you are creating a daily calendar for yourself and stick to that discipline, right? It's easy for us to wake up late and lollygag, but like, get up at the same time, put your morning face on, get your coffee, have a routine, plug into your office, and set your schedule.
Talk about meds.
Yeah. So meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep. The last thing we want to do is come out of this fatter, less healthy, less vitality, and less energy, right? So focus on what you're doing every single day.
Yeah, the COVID-19 pounds, right? I got a Peloton coming on Thursday, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I got a steel mace, man, and I go out and I sit in the sun and I just throw around that thing and get some workout and walk my son around for a couple miles. So daily meds, highly important. So I'll leave it to you, Felix.
Cool. Any last words, Felix, to wrap this up?
No, just one thing. The last point I'll add is personal development. I mean, if you're just in a funk, you feel in a funk, you got to flush your brain out. So find personal
and your liver.
Yeah, and your liver. If
drink lots of water,
depending on what you're drinking during the day. But flush your brain out with great personal development. Tony Robbins, Darren Hardy, Dale Carnegie. So, or is that Gary Keller? So make sure that you're flushing your brain out with good content, because we have to work on foundational stuff. So if you feel like your day is chaotic, that's where you start grounding yourself is in the foundational things.
What are this is a serious question. Like, what are people doing when they're not being productive? Because like there's only so many shows you can watch. Like, what else are people doing, you think?
It's just I think procrastination. So procrastination is not laziness. Procrastination is you're dealing with emotional, mental issues, and you're checking out because you've got other stuff you're dealing with, like i.e. COVID-19 anxiety or issues you're having with your spouse or your kids, or anxiety about money. It's not really that we're lazy. It's really that we're actually processing and dealing with heavy issues, and then we check out of our business life. So then we watch TV just to not have to think about the real problems of what's happening in life.
Totally. I think that there's a lot of fear, and I always tell the agents, like, start somewhere, right? Don't live in fear, or else you're never going to get just take that step forward. It's okay. It's okay if you fail right now. It's all right. I'm sure Kenny's failed. I've failed during this pandemic, and I will fail after this pandemic, but I'm okay with that. I'm certainly okay with that. So letting agents know, like, hey, get out there and at least start somewhere, and don't be fearful of it.
So my one last thing, like my coach had this really great thing. I was trying to motivate some people on my team. Lots of people have children at home. I know it can be pretty hectic to do things with distraction. Like one suggestion my coach had that was pretty awesome was that have your children be your accountability partner. Like if you need to make certain calls a day or knock out a goal, right? You could set it to be a goal with your child. Like, hey, if I can make 20 calls a day, we can have ice cream for dessert, or we can go to Disneyland next in a couple months from now. So then that way they'll leave you alone. Mommy or dad, have you made your calls yet? Have you made your calls yet? If your kid's screaming at you, have you made your calls yet? I think that's going to be pretty accountable and motivating, right? So set those things, put in your calendar and get help. And then you need to partner up with people for accountability, cross accountability. There's people out there that would love to hold you accountable. Also, well, thank you guys for joining us today on this, what were we talking about? Like post-COVID real estate coaching or something. Anyways, feel free to reach out to me or Elias, Felix if you guys want some one-on-one help. All right. Hey, guys.
Thank you, Kenny. Thanks, Felix.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Elias.